A winter storm warning goes into effect for parts of southern Wisconsin this afternoon. We'll check in with Chris Reese with what we can expect. And the president and the Speaker of the House are keeping up their blame game battle as hundreds of thousands of federal workers are caught in the middle.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Friday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit. But first, meteorologist Chris Reese is here with a look at our first alert forecast. Probably the biggest snowstorm of the season.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger ones that we've had really in a while. We're talking over half a foot of snow possible for a lot of folks. We also have 3 alert dates. It's like Mother Nature is really cramming winter into one weekend, trying to play catch up here. We have an alert day tonight for the snow. Several inches of snow accumulation are possible. Some minor accumulations are possible on Saturday as well. That's when the winds are going to pick up. And then you have the potential for blowing and drifting snow. Then into Sunday, temperatures will go down. And we're talking wind chills several digits digits below zero there. So we're going to be watching all of this. Let's start with the winter storm warning that has now been moved north and includes us right here in Madison, all the way through I-94 towards Milwaukee, back through Lone Rock and Mineral Point over towards Platteville. You get to the Dells, places like Poynette. You guys are under a winter weather advisory that goes over towards Juneau and up towards Sheboygan right now. That's where you could still see anywhere from 2 to 4, 3 to 6 inches of snow. And this goes all the way back south throughout parts of Iowa, Illinois, even throughout southern Minnesota. And we're watching that snow move into the picture as we speak. And it's moving pretty quickly as it comes on through. Now, as we zoom out, it doesn't look all that impressive with that narrow band, but you see the snow starting to develop throughout the eastern side of the Rockies. That is going to develop into another low. It's going to help add moisture to this as it moves on towards the north. So we're going to be watching this snow going through the rest of the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours, and expect that to come down pretty heavy at some times, really lasting all the way into Saturday morning. So in the meantime, it is cloudy and 21 degrees. You've got a couple minutes to a couple hours to get anything done, but this snowstorm is moving in rather quickly.
And that snow on the radar right now, at least around here, is not hitting the ground.
Not hitting the ground just yet. For it to hit the ground, go back towards Platteville and Mineral Point. It's reaching the ground around there.
Could be a tricky afternoon commute.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
All right.
Bet you're happy.
I am.
He came up for the snow, and we didn't have snow since he's been here. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
All right.
And this storm is causing several area advisories and closures in Beloit. The city declared a snow emergency starting at 5 tonight, and that goes through 5 tomorrow. Clinton also has issued a snow removal emergency starting at 5 this evening. Stoughton's snow emergency will start at midnight. All of these snow emergencies come with special parking instructions. You can find out all those details online at channel3000.com. And new guidelines from AAA show you don't need to give your car plenty of time to warm up. The Environmental Protection Agency agrees with AAA that warming up your car is only not helpful, but it's wasteful as well. Both say cars only need 30 seconds in idle. After that, you're using more fuel than restarting your car. That doesn't mean you should speed off right away, though. It's recommended you keep it under 45 miles an hour for the first 5 minutes of your drive. But when it comes to the cold, your battery should probably be more of a concern than your engine.
Your battery doesn't have enough charge in it to crank over in extreme cold temperatures. Unfortunately, you're not going to find that out until it's not cranking over. That's why we really do recommend that people get their battery serviced and checked at the beginning of winter.
Some major cities like Minneapolis, Chicago, and New York are taking this step further, actually restricting how long the average driver can idle his or her car. Minneapolis, for example, limits the length of idling to 3 minutes. If you're found idling for longer, you have to pay a fine. And if your plans depend on the weather, make sure to download our Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app. Stay safe and informed with News 3. And when it comes to traffic, one lane is open again on East Gorham following a water main break. The break happened on Gorham between Blair Street and North Pinckney. The main that broke is 136 years old. It could be another couple of hours before it's fixed. The break impacted parts of the Dane County Jail. Inmates were provided jugs of drinking water while water to the jail was shut off. In other news, Sauk County authorities are reminding anyone who might come across 68-year-old Robert Pulvermacher to call 911 and do not approach him. Meanwhile, we now know it was 88-year-old Harold Johnson, whose deputies found dead outside the Ho-Chunk Casino in the town of Delton Monday evening. The Portage man was reported missing earlier that day. Paul Vermacher has an active warrant out for his arrest. He lives in a rural area of Middleton and was last reportedly seen on Madison's east side Tuesday afternoon. Paul Vermacher has an extensive criminal past and is known to frequent blackjack tables around Madison and Baraboo. The family of a 24-year-old Madison woman who was killed outside of the grocery store where she worked is suing that market. James Nozel filed that wrongful death lawsuit against Metro Market earlier this week. His daughter Caroline was leaving a shift at the Cottage Grove Road location nearly 2 years ago when a former co-worker killed her. That man, Christopher O'Crowley, blamed Nozel for him getting fired. O'Crowley was sentenced to life in prison, but died while serving that sentence in May of 2017. Today is day 28 of the partial government shutdown, and there does not appear to be an end in sight. A day after President Trump canceled a military plane to carry House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Afghanistan to visit U.S. troops, her office released a statement asking the delegation was prepared to fly commercially. Well, this morning we learned the administration has leaked the commercial travel plans as well. The president and Pelosi are at odds over billions of dollars in funding to build a border wall on the southern border. Thousands of furloughed workers are caught in the middle, with today marking the second missed paycheck for government employees.
They're, playing games with each other, and we're the people who are hurting.
The TSA is also struggling with a staffing shortage as agents who are asked to work without pay have called in sick. Airports are bracing for even longer lines with the threat of severe weather moving across the country. Throughout the holiday weekend, workers at the State Department have been told to come back to work after the agency said it found funds to pay them. Millions of women across the country are expected to take to the streets this weekend for the third annual Women's March, including here in Madison. The march is being held just a couple of days shy of the 2-year anniversary of the first march that was held a day after President Trump's inauguration. You're looking at video from that 2017 march in Madison. This year's march is being called the Woman's Wave, hoping to speak out against a lack of representation in government. The Madison March is beginning at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning on the State Street steps of the Capitol. And there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Over the years, we've made all sorts of recipes together, but I think you'll be surprised by the unique one that we're making today. Did you know that marshmallows date back thousands of years and were considered delicacies fit only for royalty? But in the mid-1800s, they were reinvented by the French and became an instant hit to all. Today, Americans eat more than 90 million of these light-as-can-be puffs of sugar every year. A few weeks ago, my curiosity got the best of me, and I set out to make homemade marshmallows. After a couple of tries, we came up with a melt-in-your-mouth version that puts store-bought ones to shame. Let me show you. After dissolving water and sugar in a saucepan, we add some unflavored gelatin that we mixed with a bit of water. After simmering this for a bit, we let it cool. Then we add some vanilla, beat it until it's thick and fluffy, and spoon it into a baking dish. After this sets up, we cut it into squares and toss them with some powdered sugar combined with a bit of cornstarch. Whether you eat these as is, toast them for s'mores, or float them on a mug of hot chocolate, boy, are you in for a treat. If you want the recipe for our homemade marshmallows, along with the recipe for the best hot chocolate ever, all you need to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a sweet, fun-to-eat way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you. Howard. Winter is back in southern Wisconsin. Chris Reese continues to monitor a snowstorm moving our way. He joins us after the break with our first alert forecast. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrials up 351 points. The NASDAQ is up 96. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yaki. Hopefully you have some green arrows as well.
Yep, they're a little short covering today, Mark. Martin Luther King holiday on Monday is going to put the markets idle. So I know that my commodities are doing a little short covering going into the 3-day weekend. Hey, on the news side of things, welcome back, Randy Romanski. This morning, Wisconsin Ag Secretary designee Brad Pfaff named Randy Romanski as his deputy secretary. Randy's no stranger to the department. He previously served as deputy secretary under then Secretary of Agriculture Rod Nilsen's doing. And I always think about Randy because he had the unfortunate job of stepping in as Wisconsin's Ag Secretary when Rod Nilsen's doing unfortunately drowned. So Randy Romansky back as our Deputy Secretary. He focuses in on farmland preservation, the Farm to School program, several other areas. So like I said, he's no stranger to the goings-on at the Department of Agriculture. Well, like I said, markets are doing a little short covering on the middays. I expect that we'll try to hang on to these gains. It's really been nice to see us blow through some technical resistance as far as the new crop corn and bean contracts are concerned. Now we just have to hang on. It's focused on dry weather in Brazil and the upcoming conversations, face-to-face meetings, the 30th and 31st, as I understand it, with Chinese trade officials here in the United States. So like I said, those are the two news items that the markets are holding on to. Probably doesn't hurt us that we're going to be out 3 days either, since we're still lacking a lot of federal reports that USDA would normally be generating for us. So today in Chicago, the barrel cheese finishes the week up 1.5 pennies at 1.20. 40-pound block cheese up 1.25 pennies at 1.40. AA butter finishes the week unchanged at $2.24 a pound. So like I said, if anybody wants to see some of the other key appointments that Secretary-designee Brad Pfaff has announced at Department of Agriculture, I've got them all up on my website, Mark, fabulousfarmbabe.net. But like I said, Randy Romansky, he knows his way around the building, that's for sure. Now I got to wait and see if I know my way around the roads once this snow flurry business comes back around. Going to readjust our winter driving skills in a hurry, I guess.
But at least it's going to be Saturday morning, so we don't have to worry about schools and going to work. And time means everything.
Right. Yep, that's right. A lot easier.
All right, enjoy your long weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Pam. Thanks very much. And Chris is here now with the details on how much snow and where it's going.
That's right. All attention now turning to the winter storm that we do have moving into south central Wisconsin as we speak. Here it is on radar. You see that snow really starting to fill in from western Wisconsin back through the Mississippi River Valley, throughout northern Iowa and southern Minnesota right now. All of this starting to move in. Now we zoom out and it doesn't really look all that impressive, which it's not some massive storm, but nonetheless one of the bigger storms we've seen in a while. Here's what we're watching though. You see this snow developing right around Denver. That's a secondary low that's going to be adding moisture to the system that we already have working in from the north. So we're watching that snow move in as we speak. Some heavier snow already getting started throughout parts of Iowa County, now starting to move into western Dane County. Speaking of Dane County, you've been added to the winter storm warning. That's going to go until 6 o'clock tomorrow. Follow I-94 over towards Milwaukee. All of you guys are also under those winter storm warnings. Back through Lone Rock and Mineral Point, winter storm warnings continuing for you guys as well. And really all of southern Wisconsin underneath that. Now you work your way just to the north, the Dells, Poinette, Portage, over throughout Juneau. This is where there is a winter weather advisory that goes up just to the west of Westfield throughout Camp Douglas. Adams County, you guys also are under those winter weather advisories for some accumulating snow into your Saturday morning. Here's what we're dealing with now. Let's take you hour by hour. Of course, a lot of cloud cover here in Madison. The temperature 21 degrees, and all of us throughout southern Wisconsin do have those temperatures that are in the 20s. Now, just to the north, we have temperatures that are in the teens. We zoom things out just a little bit. You have temperatures close to 0 in Superior, temperatures closer to 30 once you get south of the border. When you have this extreme change in temperature over a shorter distance, this is what leads to the banding of heavy snow that we're expecting to develop later on tonight that's really going to put down a lot of heavy snow. So in fact, taking you hour by hour, here we are, 3:30. You see that first round of snow starting to move in. That really fills in during the dinner time hours that'll last throughout overnight and then come to an end in the wee hours of your Saturday. When all is said and done, the model's still differing. One model shows about 5 towards 6 inches of snow. Here's another model. This is the NAM. It's a little bit more aggressive with 7 up towards 8 inches of snow in some spots. I do think reality falls somewhere in between with about 5 to 7 inches of snow for our area when all is said and done. Over towards Milwaukee, some lake effect snow will become embedded. So that's where 6 to 9 inches of snow is possible. Out towards Platteville, Prairie du Chien, you're looking at 6 to 8 inches of snow, 2 to 4 inches of snow near the Dells, and then 1 to 3 once you get north towards Wautoma. It's also the wind, though. We're going to have a lot of wind coming in, just blowing a lot of that snow around. That could create some blowing and drifting snow as we go through tomorrow. Along with wind chills, we are talking gust potential upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour, really all throughout your Saturday. Here's the thing, perhaps that's not the only storm. We're entering into an active pattern. Here's a storm that we're watching right now develop, but as we go into the end of the weekend and towards early next week, another shot of colder air dives down. That leads to the potential of another Midwest winter storm, and then by the end of next week, we're going to be watching the possibility of several clippers to develop as that colder air works its way on in. So here's storm number 1 coming through right now. Watch what happens towards early next week. We see our next storm develop into the picture. That works its way on east. Here comes one clipper and then followed up by another clipper as we get you towards next weekend. So no shortage of activity going in our forecast. But in the meantime, alert days Friday, Saturday, and Sunday due to the colder temperatures and putting snow on the ground. I won't be surprised to see us have to adjust that with perhaps a minus sign in front of that 3. Temperatures will probably go below 0, staying in the 20s and teens throughout the next 7 to 10 days with several chances for snow, Mark.
Old man winter making up for lost time here.
Absolutely.
All right, keep an eye on things for us. Thank you, Chris. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we're joined by an organist from the Overture Center talking about a special restoration project when we come back. Thanks to the support of donors and the Madison Community Foundation Challenge Grant, the Overture Center for the Arts is able to move forward with restoring its organ in the Capitol Theater. This will be the first restoration for the organ in 90 years. And joining us now to talk about that restoration and a show where you can hear this organ in action is Jelani Eddington. Thanks for being with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Tell us about the organ. It's been in the Capitol Theater for a long time.
It has been in the Capitol Theater for 90 years, just a little over 90 years. It's what we call a theater organ. It's a pipe organ that was installed in a theater. Its main job was to accompany silent films back in the 1920s. And one of the great things here in Madison is that the Overture Center and Capitol Theater has kept that tradition going with a series series of silent films called the Duck Soup Cinema Series, and so it's been used many, many times for a lot of wonderful events.
So it needs a little freshen up, the organ.
It's 90 years old.
It's 90 years old.
And it's a mechanical instrument, so there are a lot of moving parts. It works with air coming through pipes and lots of little devices that look like bellows that need to come out and be rebuilt and re-leathered, and a lot of work to be done.
It looks like a blast to play, though.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. There are a lot of different sound effects that you can use with the organ, lots of different sounds that you can make, pretty much the same sorts of sounds you'd hear in an orchestra, and all right there at the organist's fingertips.
And sound effects, bells and whistles. And
literally bells and whistles.
And this is different than the main organ in the Overture Hall.
That's right. There's another pipe organ, a wonderful Kleist pipe organ that's in the Overture, so the main hall at Overture Center. This one is a little bit tailored more specifically for playing silent film, so that's why you have the sound effects, the bells, the whistles, all of those kinds of effects.
So taking it all apart, shipping it out to Reno, Nevada.
Correct.
And hopefully it'll be back in time for the next duck soup.
That's right. It'll be back, and it's roughly about a 4, 5, 6 month window for the complete restoration.
And it's going to be a lot better?
It's going to be a lot better. It's going to be, the functionality of the organ will be greatly improved. Things start to wear out over time, and so it's good to have a little freshening up.
And duck soup, when does it return?
Duck Soup will be returning later in the year.
Once the organ gets back.
Once the organ is there. It's an important part of the series.
We'll let everyone know when it's back and ready to go.
That sounds great.
Thanks for being with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Chris is here with one final check of the forecast.
That's right, Mark. We are watching another winter storm move into our area. It could be the first of a couple storms as we go through the next 7 days, but we are looking at the potential for 5 to 7 inches of snow in the Madison area, 6 to 9 inches out towards Milwaukee. You'll get a bit of lake effect snow, 5 to 8 inches out towards Platteville right now, 2 to 4 up north towards the Dells. But if you want to go back to that camera shot of Platteville, there's a lot of heavy snow beginning to come down to our west, and we are going to watch that spread east through the afternoon.
All right, be careful out there. We'll keep you informed, and we'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. Have a great afternoon.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.